Hey everyone, welcome back to Week Ahead Astrology Breakdown. I'm Matthew Oliver from Stillwater Alchemy, and we are now nearing the end of Virgo season. We are going to be starting Libra season soon, which means that there's going to be a significant amount of shifts with summer ending here in the Northern Hemisphere. And it's going to be, I was going to say interesting and playful. So I guess those are the words we're going for Libra season. Interesting and playful, which is good because we want to get some play in before Scorpio season, because Scorpio season comes with a dash of eclipse season this year. So we'll get to that in due time. But first, I want to report some fun Mercury retrograde wins. So earlier last week, my mother was trying to look into flights for coming down to visit in Toronto. So we're on the phone looking, putting through all these different kind of like promo codes or different things on her end. And then I thought, oh, let's just look on a different airline to see if I can get you back at a better time so you're not in a layover in some wild city. And so then I found a way better flight. I was trying to get everything done. And then it just literally on Air Canada, it was just the airplane going around in circles. And I was like, this is classic Mercury retrograde. And literally, I was on that page for 20 minutes. I tried reloading, wouldn't work. And then I went on my phone, but then the prices were showing up in American, even though it's Air Canada. And I was coming from my own login, which is based in Canada. And so intuitively, I just thought, let's go to Google Flights and see what's there for this one date that we need. And so then I looked and there was Flair Airlines. So all the Canadians listening, Flair Airlines for the win. And so literally the day that we needed was the only day available. The days before and the day after were not available for Flair Airlines. And it was literally half the cost for a one-way to get my mother back home. So it was just a very interesting turn of events in terms of I literally couldn't even get into the website to book the flight because it was delayed. And then listening to my intuition, switching the energy to a different airline and getting a way better deal. And then just recently, I got a flight notification from Air Canada again saying that my flights had been switched and to confirm or to find a new flight for when I'm going to be traveling at the end of the year. And by choosing a different flight, I have a way better flight connection and a much more direct flight at the end of the year. So again, it's very frustrating to me as an astrologer when people online are saying there's all these retrogrades, it's chaotic, it's this, it's that. These get to be opportunities for you to go back and switch mindsets, get better deals. Commerce ruled by Mercury. We get to see how we communicate and what we need with regards to our relationships, regards to communication and boundaries and things like that. So this is still an ample time for you to experience some of that Mercury retrograde magic on your end as well. Okay. Okay, so let's dive into the week ahead, shall we? So we are starting on Monday, September 19th, 2022, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I really like this because we start off the week on Monday, the moon's day, the moon in one of her favorite signs of Cancer, and the moon is getting that sextile to Venus and the sextile to Uranus. So there might be unexpected love, unexpected blessings that come in, or just some unexpected tough love. The reason why I say tough love is because remember, Venus is in her detriment in Virgo. Sometimes it can be nitpicking or sometimes it can find the flaws. And the moon is making that opposition to Pluto. And that opposition is going to go exact tomorrow. So just be aware if you're feeling overwhelmed or if you're feeling like you need help and support. Monday and Tuesday would be great days to reach out to get that support. This is not the time to suffer in silence. And this could be an opportunity to use Mercury's retrograde because maybe in the past you wouldn't reach out. You wouldn't want to show that vulnerability or weakness by reaching out to someone. But look, we also have Mercury opposing Jupiter. So for me, this really is speaking your truth. Jupiter and Aries, you don't have to second guess it. If there's something on your heart or something that you want to say or something that you want to put out there with, let's say, social media, this is the time to do so, especially if you're in a capacity to help people or offer a service or a product that you generally know is going to offer that care. this could really take off quite quickly by offering, let's say, a sale or promotion. And then that Mercury making an opposition to Jupiter, Jupiter expands whatever it touches. Mercury is there with regards to communication, technology, commerce. So this could be a really fabulous day in order for you to share the wealth, share the news, share some love. And if you're not feeling in that frequency and mindset, please be sure to reach out to whomever that you feel safe to do so. The one thing I also like with this is to just speak your blessings with regards to verbal affirmations. Let's say you just want to have one verbal affirmation that's going to ground you throughout this week. I would really recommend choosing one on Monday. It could be anything. Money comes to me easily. I'm growing more rapidly in success. Beautiful energy surrounds me at all times. Whatever you'd like it to be. And just see how grounding yourself in just one verbal affirmation at the start of the week plays out. Especially sometimes we just throw out a mindset, a thought, an idea, an affirmation, and then it comes back in random ways. And you get to see and have faith in this work. Because a lot of times I hear from clients, why are you scared? What is the reason why you're not pursuing X, Y, and Z? It's because they're afraid, the fear that it's not going to work out. But by doing these things, day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year, and having more experience so that you can recognize, like how I had that beautiful experience with saving all this money and getting way better deals during a Mercury retrograde, it helps to mitigate the fear, especially when everyone around you is maybe in a frenetic mindset. That does not mean that you have to be engaged in that as well. Okay. And speaking of frenetic mindset, Tuesday, we do have this very intense Moon Pluto opposition. Okay. So that is something to be mindful of. I do want to acknowledge that we have the moon making that sextile to the sun. So I feel like grounding in, also getting some of those kind of adult chores done, like making sure your food is full of fresh groceries, making sure that your laundry is done, making sure that all these little things are complete, or even just a little bit of cleaning if you're anxious. I think just kind of leaning on that Cancerian Virgo, cleanliness, orderly, making sure we're feeling supported and nurtured, that might help to mitigate this. Because I'm not sure if you all feel this, but sometimes for me, I know that my mind will start spinning if I am exhausted, if I don't have food, or if I don't have my creature comforts readily available, then I can sometimes get overwhelmed. It's like, oh, that's another thing I have to put on my list, is doing this and this and this and this on top of this and this and that and that. So this can be a day where you get a lot of those things done in a productive manner, so then you don't have to worry about it later on in the week. And potentially just seeing what fears, what triggers are coming up. And that way you can kind of work backwards and say, these triggers are coming up. What did I do, or what energy did I allow in beforehand that maybe resulted in me feeling this way? Or maybe I was scrolling on social media for too long and now I'm feeling all this anxiety. Or maybe I said yes to one too many things and now I feel like I would let someone down or hurt someone's feelings if I said that I can't go. These are just things to question, reflect on when we have this moon Pluto opposition in play, because all year, whenever we've had this, it's been emotionally intense. So really just understanding, sometimes this can manifest, I found, what I've heard from clients and friends, as being really lonely. And that kind of relays what we felt yesterday, right? Monday, in the sense that reach out if you need that support. You don't need to suffer in silence. There are people that want to support you, right? This moon sun sextile with Cancer and Virgo, just like, you know, that if someone reached out to you in a moment of need, if you were able, you would lend a hand or offer support. Know that that same love is available to you. One other nice energy here too is that the moon is getting that trine from Neptune. So it could be a really nice day to dream, fantasize, play in that fantasy world per se, manifest, lean on your spiritual practice, grounding when needed. So there's lots of supportive energy here from Virgo and Pisces to help the moon as she's dealing with that opposition. And the moon will switch over to Leo at around 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, which leads us into Wednesday when the moon is fully in Leo. In my opinion, Wednesday is probably the best day of the week, energetically speaking, and that's because we have the moon making that really nice trine to Jupiter. So whatever you're wanting to create, get inspired, inject some joy into your life on Wednesday. I feel like there's a lot of beautiful energy to be had at this time. And for me, there's this balance of work and play because the moon is coming up to that applied opposition with Saturn. However, it's also having that sextile to Mars. So it's like maybe giving yourself a reward for working hard. So it's like if I can get all these things done off my to-do list, and that can even work backwards and give yourself a reward so that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're building up to something so that you can go out and enjoy, like being social, having fun, having something to look forward to, an event, something networking, something social. There's definitely electricity in the air with this moon Mars sextile, moon Jupiter trine. If there's an opportunity for you to say yes and to enjoy something, I definitely would. Also, the moon is still making that sextile to Mercury. So Wednesday, no matter what time zone, it seems like there's maybe an opportunity to communicate or to get invited or to take advantage of a deal or just to enjoy something at a greater level. Like I said, this is by far the best day of the week with regards to the transits, in my opinion. So please, please, please take advantage of it and just go outside, get moving. We're rounding out summer in the Northern Hemisphere. So enjoy this time. I would also be curious if it was going to be like hot weather or something pleasurable to enjoy. Also, pleasure. Make your body feeling good in whatever way that is for you. Maybe wearing a cute outfit, maybe going shopping, going to the movies, going to a nice restaurant, being playful. All of these things, Wednesday is your day to do so. Now, let us go to Thursday. So Thursday, I wanted to touch base because there are things that are happening on Thursday that are really exciting. So I want to change this to show you all. So if we go to 9:04 p.m. on this date, Thursday, September 22nd, we see that we have the Sun-Mercury Cazimi at 0 degrees of Libra. This is exciting because it marks the halfway point of the Mercury retrograde. And it's also at 0 degrees of Libra. So whenever we have the Sun-Mercury Cazimi, remember when a planet is so close to the sun that it amplifies the quality of that planet. And it's kind of like a break. It's like this magical time where the normal effects of a retrograde, which may slow it down or impair its abilities, are muted because it gets such a strong jolt of energy from the sun per se. And given it's at 0 degrees of Libra, this may be a beautiful time to establish a relationship, to set new ground rules, to clear up any grievances. If you've been meaning to have a conversation or you wanted to deepen a conversation with a loved one and really state your true intentions, this is a time to do so. I know it's a very specific time per se. This will go until 8:05 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday. So you basically have 12 hours where Mercury and the sun are going to be at 0 degrees of Libra. And so some of you can just sit back and watch this happen. You may receive a text, you may send a text between that time zone, depending on where you live. And you don't have to do anything with this. I just thought it was curious and wanted to point this out for those of you who are really interested in the astrology, who want to use this to your advantage. And also to just checking the house in which Libra rules, because now, of course, with the sun entering into Libra, the house that Libra rules in your chart is going to be activated for the next 30 days or so, right? So this is just a nice opportunity to enjoy that. Now, let's go to Friday. I'm going to change it back to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Beautiful. So now we're on Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We can see that now Mercury has retrograded back into Virgo and the moon is in Virgo on Friday as well. So just like I kind of shared that you can check the house in which Libra rules, now is also a time that you can check the house in which Virgo rules. There might be things that you are going to retrace your steps. There's going to be definitely amplified energy here for the next couple days as the moon is transiting through Virgo. And another note to mention is that we're just days away from the Libra new moon. So really the house in which Virgo rules in your chart would probably be areas where you can clean up, where you can get more order, where there might be something where you're about to finish it off or go back to something to complete it, or now you're going to go back and have more information, or a relationship has now stabilized, so you can move through something a lot easier before we get to this new moon. So I know that can be a lot, but it is just a lot of activation because now Mercury has retrograded back and the moon has progressed forward into Virgo on Friday. I mean, this is really nice too, because now we see that Mercury is making that trine to Pluto, and the moon here as well is now co-present with Venus. So there could be something really beautiful or something that's being created, or a new idea that's coming in that can make your life a lot easier. Or when we're in a position where we really need help or we really need guidance and we need some kind of support or sign from the universe, this Friday could really be that opportunity of you get an email, you get an offer, you get some kind of message that's going to help you progress into this next phase. Okay. And also too, with it being Libra season, if you are one to set new goals, new intentions, this could be a cute time to do so. Maybe you want to wait until the Libra new moon to set those intentions, which is also a valid point. And of course, wishing a happy birthday to all the beautiful Libra angels who are watching. We will go more into that Libra energy in due time. And now Saturday, we can see this really tight conjunction here between the moon, Venus, and Mercury, and that's only going to progress throughout Saturday. So moon conjunct Venus, that's really nice. That could also just be like self-improvement, self-help, wanting to calm the mind, doing things to help yourself feel balanced, which is quite nice. So I also feel, in true Virgo fashion, and the fact that it's the dark moon phase before the new moon, getting things cleaned up, orderly, releasing anything that is no longer serving you, Marie Kondo vibes, releasing everything with joy, with gratitude, so that we can bring in some new energy, right? We also have the moon making a trine to Uranus, so there could be an opportunity for new thoughts, new ideas. But before we can welcome that in, sometimes we need to make space for that. So that could also be like technology, right? So going through your computer, your phone, any tech devices, maybe you want to sell or go to the Apple store and trade in any tech devices that are not longer working. Maybe you want to go through your phone and delete old photos, old files that are no longer needed, so you can welcome in new information. All of this is just very divinely supported here. And it's also nice too that for the next couple of days, the sun is opposing Jupiter in Libra. And there's some mutual reception here because the sun is exalted in Aries, because with regards to essential dignity, the sun is said to be in its fall in Libra. And what that means is when we think of the sun, that's very solar energy. Look at me, what I want to do, how I want to shine. But with Libras, it's about balancing, whether it be in couples or partnership, or just what's going to be good for all parties involved or both parties involved, which is kind of the opposite or antithesis of a solar being who's only concerned with what they want. However, with that opposition to Jupiter in Aries, there could be brilliant ideas, thoughts, beliefs, downloads that come in during this time that can allow you to do both, that can allow you to still pursue what you want. And by pursuing what you want, it's still going to be in a position to allow everyone to be happy. So this is just something to ponder over the next couple of days, especially after that Libra new moon, which is going to be happening on Sunday. So that Libra new moon is going to be happening Sunday night with regards to Eastern Standard Time. So just knowing as well, moon conjunct Mercury on Sunday morning here, Eastern Standard Time, that just being aware, this could also be a conversation with a feminine or female presence, or regarding those nurturing, loving, receptive themes in your life. This could also just be, I mean, with regards to Venus and the moon sandwiching Mercury here right before we get to that Libra new moon. Like I said before, when we had that Mercury Sun Cazimi, if you haven't had a conversation, or this could be a follow-up to that conversation that you need to have, this could also be a time too where it's like, how can we make this relationship better? How can we understand each other better? And we also see here now Venus, Mercury retrograde, and the moon are making that trine to Pluto. So for me, this just screams that people's true colors are going to be revealed, or potentially we've all been here where you project a fear, anxiety, or what someone may or may not be thinking, and your emotions are being affected by that. And then you have that conversation. The person is just honest. It's like, hey, I'm feeling this way because you did this or you said that. And that wasn't anything that you were thinking of, but an opportunity for truth or an opportunity for a conversation to bring you closer. That's all very much resonant here. And then, like I said, once we get to Saturday night, just to show you this, and at around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have that new moon in Libra. So take this weekend to rest, to purge, to clean, listen to your intuition. If there are conversations that need to be had or someone approaches you for a conversation, it's like, hey, can we talk? That's all very much normal at this time. Okay. Okay. And of course, I will be offering the Libra New Moon workshop to accompany all of these themes and go into that even further. So check out my website in and around this weekend for more information on that. All right. Now, for the astrology question of the week, I get this question in many different forms. And so I have a celebrity chart to showcase this in a greater detail. But people always ask, my second house is empty, or the house in which Virgo rules is empty. Is that bad? Or does that mean that Mercury retrograde won't affect me as much? There's a lot of confusion around if a house in your chart is empty, what does that mean? So if we go back to the chart here, I want to pull up Leonardo DiCaprio's chart. And so if we look at Leonardo DiCaprio's chart, we see that Leonardo DiCaprio is a Libra rising, no surprise. His sun is in Scorpio and his moon is also in Libra. So he has a lot of this Venusian influence, and his natal Venus is in Scorpio. And you don't really hear a lot about Leonardo DiCaprio unless it's news about a relationship that is either ended or started, which is very much Venusian in effect. But if we look at Leonardo DiCaprio's chart, we see that his 5th house is empty, his 11th house is empty, 8th and 12th. And so most astrologers would agree that the 5th and 11th house axis is one of the more powerful, pleasurable axis. The 5th house is about sex, creativity, passion, adventure, sport, children. The 11th house is about large groups, large audiences, hopes and dreams, friendships. And so looking at this chart, one may think, oh, does that mean that Leonardo DiCaprio wouldn't have any friends or wouldn't have any fun in his life, which we know is not the case. And so looking at just the 11th house, his 11th house is ruled by Leo. Leo is ruled by the sun. And so we see that the sun is in a very close conjunction with Venus in the sign of Scorpio. So one may deduce based off this that maybe Leonardo DiCaprio has friends that have those Scorpio themes that are also private or recluse or really like to go deeper into conversations. Given that the sun is conjunct Venus, there might be an element of, especially with Venus and Scorpio, really wanting to understand and have those visceral conversations, or maybe Leonardo DiCaprio having friends that are also with benefits, or maybe he would have this element of wanting to explore deeper, or even in the fact that it's in the 2nd house, friends that have money, or maybe that might be a criteria for him that he wants people to have power and money and success in order for him to feel understood, and that he could also relay his private life, because someone of that magnitude probably wouldn't just be friends with anyone. And so this could just be an opportunity to see, okay, this would understand why his 11th house is empty. We want to look at the ruler of the 11th house and see what aspects it makes in the chart. And also very interesting that when Mercury was in the pre-retrograde shadows in Libra just recently, like the end of October, beginning of September, that's when all that news came out about Leonardo DiCaprio breaking up with his current girlfriend, which again is very interesting how Mercury was in his 1st house, conjunct his ascendant when that was all happening. So just another note there. And then I wanted to bring up another thing just to showcase this a little bit more. So Titanic, for me, when I think of Leonardo DiCaprio, I think of when Titanic was released, how his star power just rose and how everything really began to unfold during that time. So I want to look at when this movie was released in regards to his chart. So we see that Pluto was almost exactly conjunct his natal Neptune. Neptune is a very key planet when we're talking about artists, when we're talking about the industry with regards to entertainment and playing a role, being in this kind of dreamlike realm, which I thought was very interesting. And we also see this huge pileup of Aquarius planets in his 5th house, which We know in his natal chart, his fifth house is empty. But during the time that Titanic was released, we see that Mars, Venus, Uranus, and Jupiter were all there. And so the fifth house shows creativity. Oftentimes, when we're looking at natal charts, if people have a pile up of fifth house energy, they are more creative or want to exude that creativity. It can also manifest in sports or being active, because we find adventure, sports, and fitness in the fifth house. But we can see that this pile up of fifth house energy makes a trine to everything he has in his first house. So we see huge creative activation in regards to everything that really makes up who Leonardo DiCaprio is in that first house, house of self, house of identity. And when that movie was released, people really getting to see how much of an actor, how much of a creative, how much of these gifts came through at that time. So again, this is just an example to show how if there is an empty house in the chart, we can look to the ruler of that house to help to understand it a bit more. And when there are transits going through an empty house in our chart, we want to look at the aspects that it'll make, and also just knowing that that chart or that part of our chart is going to be activated. So to give an example of what we're currently going through, if your Virgo house in your natal chart is empty, when Mercury retrogrades back into Virgo at the end of this week, those mercurial themes will then be very obvious, because there's no other planets that it's connecting with in your chart. But let's say your natal Saturn is in Virgo and it's at those later degrees. When Mercury retrogrades back and is conjunct your natal Saturn, there may be themes of work or discipline or something that you have to put a lot of effort in, or there may be even further delays, because that can represent what Saturn is. So lots of things to digest, but I want to talk about it in a different fashion with the celebrity chart so that you can see how that may manifest and thus better help to understand your own chart as well. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you've had any fun Mercury retrograde stories to report. Let me know if that showcase of information with the astro question of the week really helped to understand the theme or the topic of empty houses better. And again, wishing all my beautiful Virgo angels, well, Virgo angels that have their birthday, wishing you a happy birthday this week. And for all my Libra energy angels, again, we summon Mercury and the words start going. But everyone who's born during Libra season or has prominent Libra activations in their chart, wishing you all the best. Like we said at the beginning of this video, playful, enjoyable energy to be had this Libra season. So claim it, enjoy it. We start off this Libra season with that beautiful new moon. More information on that will be coming shortly. And as well, I created a Mercury retrograde video that discussed the prominent themes and how this may manifest based on your rising sign. So you can click the description of this video for that. It'll probably pop up in some fashion as well up above, so you can watch that if you haven't already done so. Thank you for joining in. Have a wonderful week ahead, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.